Hey,
Hola.
that's hi in Spanish.
Hola. My people know. Y'all know.
Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. By the way, before we get to today's topic, which is volume in church, we announced something really cool today about Share.
Yes, we did.
So many of you may remember years ago during our Share campaign, we'd have volunteers come and answer phones for us and take donations, and we were so blessed by that. Well, back in like 2015, 2014, Moody Bible Institute, Moody Radio needed to, be more efficient with our budget, essentially. And one of the ways to do that was to make a centralized phone area to take in donations. And by doing that and taking out all the local ones around the country, we literally saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, which I think is good stewardship.
Yeah.
But that economic decision had some relational consequence. Because when you talk to people who used to volunteer here for Share when we did the phones here,
Yeah.
nobody was like, oh my goodness, I love answering phones and taking donations. What they said was, I love getting together with other listeners during Share. It feels like a family reunion.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Reunion a lot.
And so we're giving an opportunity for that feeling to come back. The phones are still being answered in Chicago, but instead we're going to do something equally as important. We need your prayer support. So we're creating a prayer zone on site where we want you to come during our Share campaign in 2 weeks and literally physically be here in our prayer room praying over our Share campaign, and then spend some time in fellowship with other believers who are here with you who love this ministry. So to get involved and get signed up for the limited time slots that are available to be here on site, just text the word prayer to 440-546-2255. Text the word prayer to 440-546-2255, or just go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland, and there's links there where you can sign up for the slots that are available. We're also starting a Facebook group. We have started one, Kelly did, for you to, if you can't make it on site, to still join us in a private Facebook group to pray for the anonymous requests that come in all throughout Share. So we'd like you to join us on that effort too. So, Janelle is always like, it's too loud. It's too loud.
Like
Right?
an older woman.
Yeah, right? Turn it down.
Yes.
Especially when the kids are playing their music.
Oh my goodness.
Or their music.
Yeah, that ain't music.
You know what I'm talking about?
What music?
Yeah, like whatever they're...
Oh yeah, exactly.
Whatever your kids, your grandkids have on, it's music.
Yeah, thank you. Len, I told you Len already said, what? I can't even understand what they're singing. And I'm like, you sound like your parents. Look at you.
I told one of my kids, I'm like, she likes two different kinds of music. She likes whatever the garbage is. Now, I don't know what the category is that she loves, and country. Now, I don't like country all that much. But I've told her, when I'm driving, you are not allowed to listen to the garbage category. I say, this is total garbage. I can't listen to this.
That's right.
Listen to as much country as you want. I don't even like country all that much, but I'll listen to it because it's so much better than the garbage she listens to. And it's always too loud. Always too loud. What is it about kids want stuff loud?
I know.
I used to like loud music.
I still like, if it's my music, I'll blast it. You
That's
tell me,
terrible.
once you do that?
Sarah's like that. Sarah's always like, Brian, it's too loud. Turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. And then I'll get in the car after she was driving
Hello.
and turn it on, and I'm like plastered against the back of the seat by the decibels.
Yes. Thank you.
But this all came up in an article from Christianity Today, turning up the volume, joyful noise or noise ordinance violation, talking about how many megachurches in particular are getting complaints from neighbors and parishioners that it's just too loud. One church had 222 complaints from the police department. Crazy. Just in 1 year.
200. What?
Other churches are passing out earplugs to people who think it's too loud. And then on top of that, you have the Bible says, quote, praise him with loud clashing cymbals. Doesn't say anything about earplugs. And now, I know a lot of you think it's too loud. I get it. But here's my thing. Who gets to decide the volume? You? So church is now about you and what you think is too loud. Who gets to decide the volume? Isn't this really a subjective preference issue, not an objective?
Yeah.
There's a perfect volume for church? It's my thought. I don't know what Janelle's doing.
Oh, Callie saying good morning. She says, my husband jokes at me because I listen to my radio station or music at a volume of 5. My son and husband like their stuff loud. It hurts my ears.
I think it's a mom problem. I
I
think
don't
giving
have that
birth.
issue. It doesn't hurt my ears.
No, I think giving birth changes your inner ear.
What do you know? Oh my goodness. He said giving birth. Wow.
It does something.
Roseanne, good morning. Callie, Deborah, Eva, Adrian. Good morning, Adrian. Happy Tuesday. And Mike says buenos dias.
No, he did not say. He said buenos dias todos.
Todos. What is that?
Everybody.
Good. Wow. Look who's here.
Whoa, Dee Dee Tanks
That's
is here.
right. You better
The First
stand up.
Lady of Reach City Church. First Lady, good to see you again. Glad to have you show up.
That's right.
Always love when First Ladies of churches show up on Brian Janelle Overtime.
That's right.
I'm gonna see
Check
how many
yourself.
times I can say First Lady because I know it drives her nuts. Push her buttons, push her
Oh my
buttons.
goodness. Deborah says when things are too loud, you can't hear your inner voice. And even more, you can't hear when God talks to you. Yes, worship services do not need to be loud. It's not a concert.
But here's the thing though. Like, I'm not the same way as that. I think that's true for Deborah. But there's certain styles of music that if I go see that there's a band that plays in the Minneapolis area every Monday, professional musicians, and they do soul funk R&B.
Yeah.
And if you're playing, like one time they went in, they were playing James Brown's The Big Payback.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel the bass rattling my chest cavity while I'm listening to The Big Payback, I'm not happy.
I'm the same way.
I can hear an inner voice, and it's saying, I love this.
That's right. Oh, yeah. I was going to say there's a image. She reminded me of a meme I saw that was like, you know you're old if you got to turn the music down to kind of figure out the directions to where you're going.
No, yeah, that's true.
The
I do
inner
that.
voice thing. You do?
I do that with directions. Like if I need to
my
pay attention to
goodness.
where I'm going, I turn down the volume. Why do I do that?
So weird.
What does that have to do with it?
Maybe it's what she says. You can't hear your inner voice.
I
You
can hear
can't
my
think.
inner voice.
Stephanie, good morning, Stephanie. She says, I love going to concerts. I have been to churches where the music is so loud and I do not see joy as people sing. They look more stunned to me.
Or else they grew up in my church tradition, which everyone always looks stunned. Just like,
Oh, yeah. Oh.
that's how we worship.
Blake says, I agree with Janelle earlier.
Whoa.
That's my dude. Earlier, she was mentioning that worship is a matter of the heart, and worship is not just the music. But Brian kept referring back to music preference and who makes the decision. It's easy to pull out a decibel meter and keep at it at a reasonable volume for
Okay,
everyone.
no, but still, Blake, I love you, brother, but who gets to decide what decibel level is appropriate? You say 80, I say 85. Why is your 80 more important or more true than my 85?
Reasonable, yeah.
Who gets to decide the decibel level? It's still subjective.
Eva says, they should be mindful that it's not always a preference matter. It can be a medical issue. I've dealt with a concussion for over a year and I sometimes have no choice sensitivity. The bass sometimes is so loud that it gives me a heart palpitation. So
And I
what do you
believe
say
that's
to
true.
that?
No, I believe that's true.
So what should she do?
I don't know. Maybe talk to the people at church, but there is a point at which some of our own needs we have to adjust and not expect everyone else to. And I don't know if that's the case for Eva, but isn't that the case? Like, if my baby's crying in the church service, I have two choices. It's a baby, babies cry. Everybody in here can just deal with it because it's a baby and that's what babies do. Or I can get up and walk out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some churches, the atmosphere is one of babies that are fussy are fine in here. Don't worry about it. Others, get up, get out.
Astra says, good morning. We love you, Astra. My family and I have been attending a church for almost 2 years. My husband and I really love the teaching. However, we really believe the worship service is too loud. Several times it was so loud we could feel it in our chests. We have 2 teens, and even they say it's too loud. The volume is too loud. It's a distraction,
So
in
what
my
should Astra
opinion.
do?
I would say, some people would say, we'll send an email. I don't like doing that because I know that pastors get a lot of emails. So they can get my email that says your service is too loud and another email that says, can you please pump it up? Or, So, but you're right. What does she do if
Well,
it's uncomfortable and it's distracting?
I think some of it could be what our last caller and local musician and worship leader, Jelani Aswad, brought up. It's that here's what we typically do. A church will spend an appropriate amount of money, thousands of dollars, on a great sound system. And then they allow Jim Bob, who likes music, to come and mix the soundboard. Would you let a random guy come and fix your plumbing in your house?
Ooh.
No, you hire someone with proper training.
Do we
Running
realize?
a soundboard requires proper training and skill, and it's possible that your church has someone who has no clue what they're doing at the soundboard, and your church may need to invest in that.
My issue with that, I have a heart for small churches, and most of America is small churches. I don't think, because he was like, a lot of them don't choose to invest there. A lot of them don't have the money to invest in that
So
at
then
all.
pay somebody to come out once and teach you how to do it. Set up a preset mix. Because it's possible, honestly, for you to feel the bass and have it not be too loud to the ear.
Yeah, it's true.
It has to do with the level at which you adjust the EQ of the low frequencies, what kind of volume and level you have going to the subwoofers versus the tweeters and the mid-range speakers. Like you really, there is a science to this that the church may be screwing up. And maybe if someone thinks it's too loud, they ought to be the one that's willing to pay for a professional to come and fix it.
Roseanne says, I sent a message by text earlier in the show, but let me just reiterate here. What I found disturbing when I listened to this news piece that you were reading, Brian, is that it seems that people from those churches don't really care that the neighbors are bothered by their very loud music. It's a church, not a concert venue. Let them put sound barriers like a concert venue would have to. I just find it sad that it is Christians, they're not concerned that people are bothered by them as opposed to being drawn to them. Again, just a lack of focus, I think, on the part of any of these churches.
See, I
That's
agree
a
with that.
deep point.
No, I agree with that.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it's one thing when you have internal debate inside your worship center about how loud it is, and it's a whole other issue if your neighbors are complaining. If your neighbors are complaining, it's time to fix the problem. But I think that we allow too much subjectivity to come into play inside the church.
Inside, yeah. What about what Dr. Jennifer Jones says? We should go with a decibel that doesn't damage the eardrums. That's
Okay, I agree.
objective.
No, I agree. But I'm telling you, if you set it at a level that does not damage the hearing, somebody will still think it's too loud. Right?
Actually, my
Tell
phone,
the doctor. Go ahead.
when I have my earphones on and I want to increase the thing, that little message about you're going to damage your eardrum, I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. I just turn it off because it's low to me. And I know I may be damaging my ear, but I agree that that may be low for some other people. And I don't know what it
I could be
is.
totally off on this, but I'm trying to indicate that, yes, there is a barrier at which science says the decibel level could cause hearing damage for a sustained amount of time at this level. But I'm telling you, if you turn it down below the safe level, still going to get complaints.
Yeah,
And
you
you
are.
turn it down again, you're still going to get complaints. And you turn it down again, and you're still going to get complaints. And that's the issue. Who gets to decide?
Yeah.
And what do you do when it's too loud?
Sandy says churches should take the principle laid out in 1 Corinthians 14. That's what I'm talking about, sister. Worship should be orderly so that everyone can understand and relate to what's going on. Focus should be on the glory of God, not people's emotions. In principle,
I agree
that
with
is
that in principle.
awesome. But I agree with what you're saying. Okay, well, what does that look like? Orderly for me, I've experienced it with, sorry y'all, boomers in a church that I love and been at for decades or visited. Orderly for me is very different to what orderly for them is on a number of levels. Age, what Jelani said, culture, big time. Like, you know, what I think is orderly to them is like, and I'm not even talking, it's not even that different. I'm talking about African American versus Latino. So, and there's personality and there's background. So how do you reconcile with that in terms of, it's true what she says with 1 Corinthians 14, but how do you decide what orderly looks like?
And that's what I'm saying, because it's possible that Jane Doe or John Doe really would like it to be at X decibel level. So now that person says, finally it's orderly, I can focus. And 90% and 95% of the church is dissatisfied, they can hardly hear it.
Yeah.
Is that orderly? Doesn't sound orderly to me. It actually sounds like one person is demanding that their expectations be met.
Yeah.
And it's hijacking the rest of the church's preferences.
Yeah. And then are you drawing in the younger generation?
I mean,
because the younger generation may want it. You know, like you kind of have to. You don't think that doesn't that play into their likes and all that? You were gonna say something.
Well, I was gonna say, shouldn't our first response be not how can I make the church change what they're doing, but your first response ought to be how can I make a change to adjust to my preference? Like if I could find a way to be happy with the volume in the church,
even
without
if it's
changing
like you
everything,
said, stepping out for.
Wouldn't that make the most sense?
Yeah.
Rather than we demand everyone meet my needs.
I'm thinking about the older people that we love, grandparents, friends, who, let's say, maybe handicapped or on a crutch or on a walker. Really, for me to ask them, like, well, just step out during worship service. It's not like a lot of other people where you could just get up and go. It's harder for them to step out. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying that's a reality.
Well, you are, so it's okay.
Oh, what? What are you going to say then? Okay.
I think then you can, with sensitivity, make it normative that some people are going to wear ear protection.
Ear protection, that's, yes.
Or maybe you provide a special worship space for those who have, because even those with, for example, autism can't handle a level of volume that most people can. So why not provide a safe space for people who are hearing sensitive? That maybe it's like there's a theater. Where is this theater? Was it here or in Chicago? We can actually rent a party room that has glassed off, soundproofed area in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Where you can have your little kids come watch a movie without ruining everyone's experience.
That's cool. Damari says, Janelle, we have spice in our life, so for us it may not be too loud or out of order. Yes, sir, azúcar. That's right. Deborah says some churches have personal sound systems for those who are hard of hearing. Kimberly says, I live in a city where my neighbors will blast their music all day long, sometimes into the evening. No care in the world for the neighbors. At least a church worship service is only a certain limited time.
That's true.
Marcy says, when you speak softly, people will lean in to listen. Too loud.
When I have to lean in to listen, I get distracted and I get frustrated.
So then you agree that it's too loud, right?
No, what I'm saying, I think what the person's indicating is that it's better to be too soft, because then people have to lean in to listen rather than be too loud.
Oh.
No, it actually, as much as people get irritated by too loud, I get irritated by too soft.
Yeah. Deborah says, if a church is in a community with homes, it really must be mindful of its surroundings, especially in order to be a good witness. Eva says, I don't complain about the music. I would choose to stay home if I'm having an issue that day. My church streams live and I can adjust the music however I need. I will not impose my issues on everyone else.
That's what I'm saying, Eva.
That's the way I roll too, but I want to be mindful of those who have medical issues. Because some people, like, legit, it's an issue. But I guess she expressed a way to... I get it. She doesn't mind staying home, but for me to expect... Like, we've talked about older people being lonely, or Sunday being the only time they get to be around. And I'm just picking them as an example. To make it another reason to stay home... because it's too loud.
I get it. And yet I think there's a balance, because so much of society has become, everyone has their little pet peeves, so now nobody gets anything.
Yeah.
As in, one of the biggest problems, like my son had a birthday, 2nd grade. I want to get treats to bring to school. They just can't even allow treats anymore. You have to get
allergies?
Non-food items. Yeah, because Sally's got an egg allergy, Johnny's got a wheat allergy, and they can't regulate themselves, so that basically no one has any fun anymore. I got to buy some little toy for this other kids. When, my goodness, at what point does this become total insanity?
Yeah.
That everyone's so inwardly focused on their own very special need.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be sensitive to people's needs, but there's a point at which others hijack everybody else's situation. I don't know what the balance is.
Yeah, it's hard. Roseanne, is it just me? I find these discussions so troubling, because if we as Christians are that petty, then we're missing the whole point of Jesus' message. Not to belittle that there are different arguments that go on in church, inside churches, but really, this is what we spend our time talking about. And I don't mean here in this forum. I'm just saying, our church is really having these debates and these discussions because they're missing the point then. Perhaps I'm just getting old.
No.
You're not getting old.
You are not getting old. She's getting old.
No. What?
You are absolutely right. Like, we waste so much time on churches debating the color of the carpet, the type of chair we're going to get, the volume in the church service, that we miss the opportunity. You're absolutely right. I know you're not talking about us debating this. Yeah, gotcha.
But to some people, it's not minor, right?
Yes.
It's a real medical issue.
The first step is make adjustments for yourself without forcing everyone else to change.
Stephanie says, God led my family to our church. I have spoken to my pastor in his office and other staff about the extreme loudness. It has been tough feeling that my thoughts are not taken into consideration. I usher, and people have that Memorex look. Is that a word? I don't know. Am I spelling? Well, yeah. When the music blasts and knocks them over when the door opens.
I think you ought to, Stephanie, I understand where you're coming from. I love that you met privately with your pastor. The question becomes, what would it take for you to feel like you're heard? What would it take for you to feel like you're heard?
Change.
Is that the only way?
What else can a pastor? Oh, the earplugs.
Because he may have people telling him, like he may have 10 people telling him how much they think it's perfect and they love the volume.
Yeah.
So is the only way you'd feel heard for him to turn it down? And is that reasonable? I think you have to ask yourself those questions. And maybe it's time to try ear protection. And if that really becomes an issue, there's lots of other places to worship. And maybe you need to just bless them on your way and go somewhere else.
Astra says, for clarification, I don't think it should be super low that no one can hear the music. But I would like to be able to enjoy that part of the worship service more. Maybe I'll start taking earplugs. I don't know what to do about feeling it in my chest, though.
But see, Astra, I like that feeling in my chest. I'm a bass player and a drummer, and I want to feel it. If I don't feel like I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's irritating, because to properly have bass set, you want to feel the bass a little bit. So it just becomes an issue of preference.
A little off topic, but I have something else to share about Len. Our family's so loud, just the voices, that he walks around with earplugs in the house. Isn't that funny? So when you keep talking about earplugs, I'm like, oh my gosh, that would so be Len in church with the he wears earplugs in the house.
He'd be like, y'all need to turn it down.
Oh my goodness. But in the same spirit of, you make a change to accommodate, because it is a little prideful, and I'm talking about my husband, not about y'all.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pride issues.
In that case, it would be prideful to be like, y'all need to be quiet because it bothers me. It's like, we're sharing a living space. So can I make a change so that other people can be comfortable too? And maybe we can approach church in the same way as much as we can.
Yeah.
Especially if we love our pastor. That's so tough. Having, or maybe the expectation of having to please everybody. And then everybody thinks that your issue is the only thing they're dealing with.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I think, there's been times when Sarah and I have left a church on good terms because of us issues.
Can you unpack that?
Yeah, okay. There was one situation where we went to a church we loved and love dearly. We were at a life place where we had at the time 3 and then 4 very small children. And there just weren't many families in the church with small children.
Yeah.
And so we didn't fit well in the married couples ministry. I understood why they didn't invite us to everything, because they didn't want the kids there.
Yeah.
We didn't have many babysitters. And eventually what we decided was, we didn't blame the church for not having more people our age that want to connect. It wasn't their fault. We loved them and blessed them on our way and decided to go somewhere else. You see, or I could have went around complaining that nobody wants to spend time with us.
Yeah.
And no one's connecting with us. When really, there's a way for us to cheer for them from another church. Mm-hmm. We don't always have to leave churches for negative reasons.
Yeah.
And if the volume is that much of a problem, just go. It's okay. Right? Go on good terms.
I agree. Go on good terms, yes.
Just don't leave angry. Just go, you know what? I think there's a better fit for us. Praise God.
Yeah.
As long as you're in a place that is a Bible-believing, gospel-proclaiming church, we can all be happy.
Yes.
Mimi Villa showed up. Station manager's wife, first lady of the radio station.
You better respect her.
I'm saluting totally wrong, probably. I don't know how to salute.
I don't know how to do it. They do it.
It's not like this. I know that.
No, but it's not like this either. I've seen I don't know.
Maybe it's something you do with your thumb. I don't know.
Robert said, "Preach, Brian." Okay, Rob, calm down because then it goes to his head.
Rob,
and then,
yeah. Rob's the man. Don't listen to her. Rob.
Stephanie, oops, hit send and wasn't finished. I was a worship leader in Chicago downtown. I love Chicago, Stephanie.
You are cool, Stephanie.
So the way I dealt with it was pray. Then, since me and my family hang out in the lobby until the music is over, I'm using my time to be a blessing and minister to others. Also, hanging out because of noise or maybe needing a touch of love and or prayer.
That's how it is.
You my girl. Don't.
That's
my
how
girl.
you do it.
I hope you're going to women's conference so you could just teach us all how
I'd
to
say
be
you're
awesome.
my girl, but that would sound really weird.
No? What can you say?
You're my girl. I mean, that's no. Sarah's my girl. You can say
That's
that.
a lot of thinking, dude. You just
there's too much thinking here sometimes. It's hard to think this much.
You are so. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with
you. Do you know how much I get that from her?
Oh, Mimi, we love you. She said, ha ha ha. Y'all are awesome. I struggle with chronic migraines, and yet even at days when I'm pressing through at nearly 10 level pain, I press through my struggle in insolence because seeing everyone else around me enjoying their time and volume levels. You are amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm clapping louder and faster.
Oh my gosh.
Mimi Villa is brilliant.
She
we love
is
her.
amazing.
So wise. I love that. That's what it's about right there.
You my girl too, Mimi. Aha,
You're not
you
my
can't
girl.
say nothing.
Sarah's my girl. You're the best. All right.
Bye, guys.
We got to run. We'll maybe bring this up on Friday again, people. Peace out.
Word to your mother.